out to you, Senator Hillary Clinton from the state of New York, but soon to be a viable contender, more than a viable contender for the President of the United States.
I wish you could be up here looking out at this fabulous crowd and all this enthusiasm and energy. This is the way we'll solve the energy crisis. We'll just come to Rock Hill, get everybody connected up. I want to thank Reverend Crump for welcoming us here to the Freedom Center, and those of you who have followed the remarkable journey of this church. It was just a relatively few short years ago. There were 38 people the first time you met. Isn't that true, Reverend? Yes. And now 2,000, and they're building a new church. And this has been just one of the most rapidly growing churches of the new millennium. And you can get a little sense why as he was standing up here. Of course, I'm never going to forget being called a vivacious visionary and a sensational. Those are wonderful words to hear, but I'm so grateful that this place is such a meeting center, and I thank you for welcoming us here. It really means a lot. You and Mrs. Crump and your entire congregation. Thank you so much. And I must thank all of you for sending John Spratt to the Congress. Integrity, such intelligence, such dedication. Whenever we want to know what really is happening with the budget, what the consequences are for our country, there's one person that everybody asks for, and that's your congressman, John Spratt. I consistently told it as it was when it came to what was going on with your money in Washington and the spending and the difficult choices that have been made. And I am deeply honored to be here and to have been introduced by him. I am thrilled to have this chance to be with all of you. I know I've got a hard-working group of volunteers here in Rock Hill, and I've been looking forward to getting here. I started out from Columbia, stopped to have some barbecue at a place called Doc's, had a chance to visit with some folks and find out what was going on. And it is a wonderful experience to be participating in this important primary, because tomorrow South Carolina gets to help pick a president. And there's nothing more important for our country right now than to make the right choice. Because no matter what one thinks about where we are in American history, it is clear that we have some really big challenges ahead of us. Now, we also have some great opportunities. It is up to us to decide how to meet those challenges and seize those opportunities. And I'm running for president because I am convinced that our country can do better, that we can come together, that we can meet whatever awaits us. But we've got to do it by making a decision here in South Carolina and in the states to come that we are going to chart a new course. I think it's time for America to set some big goals again. I believe we are capable of doing anything we put our minds to. I was raised to believe that. You know, my father was a World War II veteran. I see a hat out there that says World War II, and I thank you for your service. My father was in the Navy. When he came home from serving, he wanted to do three things. He wanted to start a small business. He wanted to start a family, which had been postponed because of the war. And he wanted to save enough money to buy a house. So he set those goals. And together as a family, we worked toward meeting them. You know, my mother, who didn't have an easy time of it growing up and really had to work awfully hard to be able to basically raise herself from a pretty young age. She never got a chance to go to college. She only got to go to high school because she went to work for a family as a live-in babysitter, and they were kind enough to let her take care of the children in the morning, and she got them off to school to go to school herself. So she never got to continue her education. So one of her goals was to make sure her children got the opportunity. Now, we set goals in our family, and I was given the great privilege of having a strong, supportive family, of being part of a church that helped to nurture me and give me values and make me strong in my faith. And I also always believed that I had a country that also set goals. That we were taught that no matter what the problem was, America was there to solve it. That we were the can-do nation. Well, I think it's time we start acting like that again. And I want to summon us as a nation to some of those big goals. Now, in order to do it, we've got to decide, are we going up together or are we going to continue to drift apart? Because over the last 7 years, what we have seen is that the typical American family has lost $1,000 in income. People are working harder than ever before. Nobody outworks Americans. I don't care what anybody tries to tell you. We are the most productive workers in the world. And we've been working harder and harder, but everything's gotten more expensive. Healthcare, college, energy, gas at the pump, utility bills. And people feel like, they're not getting ahead. And now we're facing some of these economic challenges. John's been back in Washington trying to cope with them, and I've been putting forth ideas about what we should do. But the bottom line is, we've got to get this economy working for everybody. We need shared prosperity, where people feel like they are getting ahead, and the American dream is within reach. So I think we've got to do a couple of things. I think we've got to get back to fiscal responsibility. We had a balanced budget and a surplus. What's the point of that? Well, I'll tell you what the point of it is. The point of it is you're in charge of your fiscal destiny. You are acting responsibly. You are setting an example. You are not spending beyond your means. You know, my dad never paid anything but cash. Never had a credit card, didn't take a mortgage. You know, he came from the school that, if you couldn't pay for it, you shouldn't get it. Well, that's who I am. I'm my father's daughter. I think you got to go day by day, pay as you go. And when my husband left office with that balanced budget and surplus, we had a projected surplus of $5.6 trillion. Now, the point of that was to make sure we dealt with the long-term challenges of Social Security, of Medicare, of making investments that will make us richer and stronger in the future. Now we're in a $9 trillion debt and an increasing deficit. And we borrow money from everybody. I mean, people know we borrow money from the Chinese, but we also borrow money from the Mexicans. We borrow money from everybody. We borrow money from the Chinese to buy oil from the Saudis. That is not a smart strategy for America. So when I think about what we must do, it is to get back on that path to fiscal responsibility. You should not ask our tax code. It has become so tilted toward the wealthy and the well-connected. They have done extremely well in the last 7 years. I'll just give you one example of something that has to change. I represent Wall Street, and I'm proud to do it. A lot of good people, a lot of very smart people, probably some of the richest people in the world. But I don't think it's right, and I have said this consistently, for an investment money manager on Wall Street who makes $50 million to pay 15% income tax, while a teacher who makes $50,000 pays 25%. I don't think that's right. And we've got to start closing those tax loopholes. This is a free country. If somebody is determined to move a job from South Carolina to somewhere else, well, we're not going to put up a gate and tell them they can't. But why should they have 1 penny of your taxpayer dollars to do that? We're going to end all of those tax giveaways and all of those loopholes because it's not fair to everyone else. Your money should be either in your pocket or going to work for America to make it better for us right here at home, for our kids, for our future. We're going to stimulate the economy. The Democrats in Congress and the President have made an agreement. It's not everything I would want, it's not everything John would want, but it's recognizing the reality that we've got some tough economics.